Okay, good afternoon and good evening, everybody. This is Dennis Wilson with the Active Trend Traders. Welcome to this weekend session of How to Make Money Trading Stocks, Options, and ETFs. Got a lot of exciting things to share with you, what the market's doing, what the market's not doing. But I want to thank you if you're joining us via Facebook, if you're joining us via the YouTube channel, welcome. Please feel free to share this content with anyone you like and invite them to become a active trend trader. Do me another favor, if you have comments about what you see or hear on this, please leave us a note and also give us a nice thumbs up. That's how they basically, the little creatures that go around and check out websites, they're always looking to see what's getting liked and what's not getting liked. So with no further ado. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dennis Wilson with the Active Trend Traders. Welcome to the How to Make Money Trading Stocks, Options, and ETFs webinar. It's a little short webinar we do every Friday that basically just highlights what's going on in the market. I want to remind everybody that all the materials we do provide are for training purposes only. Traders should always paper trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. Remember, as a trader, and I'll keep referring back to this, your job as a trader is to wait for the best possible opportunities. One of the things that we really like to do in active trend trading is we like to help people understand and identify where those best opportunities happen on a stock chart. We're technical analysts, and then it basically is we identify the trading zones, if you will, or the action zones. And then we basically just sit and wait. And as it says here, money is made stalking and sitting, not being active and forcing the new trade each day and or each week. Actually, just don't chase trades. Next week, we've got the Fed coming up. You know, this rally kind of ran out of gas, hasn't it? So, you know, the question is this a relief rally or is it a little bit more? Is it going to wait till the Fed meets next week and then roll over and die? You know, we're going to have to see. It may not roll over and die whatsoever, but we're going to be taking a look at that to see what's going on with that. The objective of this session is timely, actionable intel review at the end of each week, seeking to clarify, simplify market decisions so wealth can be multiplied in your trading account. We'll take a look at a couple of stocks, ETFs, and performance, and some bonus setups. If there's any bonus setups setting up for IBD quality stocks and or some ETFs. So here's where we're sitting as of about 9 o'clock this morning. We're up a little bit over 14% for the year, and continue to add on to this. And this is where we look at how do we become more strategic. Our profits for June so far, this is cash flow and profits, a little bit over $1,200 for the month. This week I spent a lot of time doing some test type trading for the premium members, and I'm really encouraged. Next week we're going to be launching refining a couple of the ways we do some trades on the premium side. I think the adjustments I'm going to be making to the strategy to earning spread trades, I think you're going to appreciate. Increase the reward for less risk. You know, anytime you can do that with a trading platform, a trading system, that's always a good thing. One of the things that we also do, here's where we're sitting as of our strategy number 2, a little bit over $1,000 this week. And since the beginning of the year, we now have topped 100% in this strategy. We started with $10,000. We are now trading over $20,000 in this account. Our target for next week, $1,027. That's 5% of what we start the week with. So that's 5% of the $20,549. That's what we're targeting. Here's what we're doing this week and some of the other trades we do as for premium members. And this is our earnings spread. This is for just Q2. I traded an RF and I traded ABGO this week, and I sent out this RF trade. It actually turned out to be, it turned out to be a successful trade, and this is part of the learning aspect. I'll be covering a little bit more depth in the next session, in the final hour session for premium members only. But if you'd like to see how do you do this on a regular basis, please join us as a premium member. You can find how to sign up on our website. Next week, we have Adobe coming up for earnings. We'll be setting up a trade in Adobe. One of the other things that I like about what I've been working on for doing the earnings trades is what I doing previously. It was really relied on the implied volatility expanding dramatically. This new method is going to be less dependent on implied volatility. As a matter of fact, implied volatility won't matter hardly at all, but it's going to give us a better opportunity for less risk and then a greater potential for gain. So that's what I've been working on as I continue to work. So Adobe, one of the things I wanted to highlight to folks also and show them is, and then we're going to get into the trades, is if you trade on the Thinkorswim platform, you can find out what earnings are coming up in the, like over the next 21 days. And then if you like these earning trades, you can actually set up your own earning trades. We have the parameters for that established for our premium members. But let me show this to everybody, okay? This is the Scan Stock Hacker session. And what I want to do, I want to find a scan that cover, and basically there's a canned scan. That's pretty fun to say that. A canned scan that's already in the system. You just go over here and you highlight this little place here. Go to Load Scan Query. Well, which one do we want? Well, you start looking down here. All the scan through with this little well, that indicates it as a scan, but it also, you can load it up as a watch list and have it automatically update for you. So let's go to the second page here of this, and you'll see right down in the bottom it says upcoming earnings. Now I have modified it just slightly. Upcoming earnings 1. And so what I wanted to do with this is, one, I wanted to streamline a couple of things. What I look at is, this is just a can scan within the, I want to know what earnings are coming up over the next 21 trading days. In other words, so that's about a month's worth of time. I want to sort this on all optionable stocks, because these earning trades that we set up, they only work on optional stocks. I would prefer, and I want to take a look at the stocks that have weekly options, and so I look for weekly option. And the other thing I want to do is, I don't want to do any small stocks, and so I basically say I import in there, and this is what's called an added filter. Right, your add filter for stock. I added this filter, and I want to know the minimum price that I'm interested in is stocks that are $40 and above. So you can go back and look at the tape on the video on how I did that. So then I just go down here and I say scan. There we go. And as you can see, this scan turned up 13 stocks out of this universe of all optional stocks that will have earnings over the next 21 days. Now I can go over here and I can sort this by price. And as you can see, The least expensive stock I have is CGC, which is $41. So it appears as if my scan, in fact, worked. The most expensive stock is Adobe. So let's just pick a couple of these just to take a real quick look at them. There's one stock that I thought should have shown up here, and I don't see it. Let's try it again. Yeah, that's okay. So I have Adobe. I have RHT. That's something, and I have FedEx and FDX. And then I can just run over and take a real quick look at those to see exactly when they have earnings. RHT, and in this case, let's take a look at FDX. And I can, so once I have that, I can now run over to my charts and start filling in the rest of the information about when so Adobe. Adobe. Now these little symbols down here at the bottom of the page show us exactly when Adobe has them. So Adobe has earnings on 6/18, which is, I believe, next week. Yes, it is next week. And it's after market on 6/18. So I can sit there, okay, that goes on my list to plan for a trade on Adobe next week. Now I don't want to really do any more than 2 trades per week. So let's see if there's anything else that might fit the bill coming in next week. What about this? What is this? This is Red Hat. Red Hat usually gives. Now, one of the issues. How's this looking? Yes. Okay. You can see after the last earnings, it gapped up here and went sideways. Still going sideways. So Red Hat has earnings on 6/20. That is also next week. And so I can say, okay, I may want to trade Red Hat going into earnings next week. What was the other one? FDX. And that's FedEx. When does FedEx have earnings? Well, it just happens to be FedEx has earnings on the 25th, which is the week after next, or the last week in the month. So as you see, now I can start building a list where I have a couple of stocks every week that have the characteristics of what I'm looking for. What are those parameters? It's optionable. 2, it's over $40 in price. And it has weekly options, because I want to be able to trade weekly options for these earning spreads. And again, the rest of the story about the earning spreads, we'll talk to the premium members when we get up at the 12 o'clock hour, or on the final hour. So I want to highlight that to you and just show you that, if you didn't know that that was a capability of your active trend trading, or not your active trend trading, of your Thinkorswim platform, now you know. And it's a really nice, and again, some of the premium members, we've also been doing other scans, and I've been getting good reports back on people saying, hey, these scans are working really good for us. Mark said Mark just left a note for me here earlier saying, thanks for the scans. So, hey, let's take a real quick look at the indexes themselves. SPY. What do we have coming up next week? That the market is just kind of like holding its breath on and not doing anything. What is it? Starts with an F. Anyway, it comes up next Wednesday. It'll report out. Basically, it will tell us whether or not we have, or if they're going to raise rates, lower rates. That's right, the Fed. The Fed's hasn't been as big a market mover as it used to be. I think that's partly because there's a little bit more transparency with the Fed. It gets out there and does reports and all that kind of stuff. It still has the capability of moving the markets, but not the way it used to when old Alan Greenspan used to walk around with his briefcase and they were trying to determine whether or not they were going to raise rates, not raise rates, and all that kind of stuff. And that really had a huge impact on the market. As we see here, what we got going on with the S&P? Kind of a cross signal here. We've got the TSI on the weekly chart turning back up. However, price action has moved up in a huge way last week, and now it just kind of stalled out. If anything, this almost looks like it is a failed rally attempt. I'm not going to, we don't know if that's the case, where it comes down, comes back up, and then basically gasses out, and then shoots down to the downside. If I'm looking for a downside target, well, I can also go if this does in fact reverse back down, one of my downside targets will be any of the moving averages on the way down, but also the last low, as we see over here. Again, bearish engulfing on Tuesday of this week, and now price action over the last 3 days has basically been really, really, really quiet. The Qs. Qs, similar type situation. Again, popped up, had ran a little bit over the 618 extension up towards the Keltner channels. That's the Keltner channels is just basically this is 2 ATRs above the 20 EMA on a daily chart. That'd be the 20 EMA, 20 daily EMA. We're getting these signals again, similar type thing. TSI is rolling over, hasn't crossed to the downside yet. So there's no signal to say, hey, let's get short this. It's just we're just seeing a little bit of weakness showing up, but it's counter to what we're seeing on a weekly basis. And so I'm not going to say, hey, let's get short this. I am going to say IWM, because IWM has been one of the weaker indexes, or the Russell's been one of the weaker indexes. As we see, we've pulled right up into the, guess where? Right up into the the 50, the 34-day moving average, have not crossed over yet. If you are learning how to trade with a TSI or any kind of oscillator like this or indicator like this, such as stochastics, or one of the biggest mistakes people can make when they're first getting to use this is trading blindly on your price action and saying, well, it's almost crossing over. So they'll go ahead and use that as a decision-making point, and that normally does not work well. Go ahead and just, wait for the crossover, because what that tells you is that the momentum has shifted. Then you go up to your price action and say, my momentum has shifted. Okay, how do I want to trade this from now? When is the momentum also shifted on my price action? And so that's the way to trade that, and that's the way to understand that. Right now, TSI is not rolling. It's squeezing back together, but has not reversed to the downside. And in reality, other than this engulfing pattern that we captured on Tuesday, none of the rest of this is really bearish candlesticks. We're banging our head against resistance at the, about the 50 and the 78.6 retracement. However, it has not, but it's staying within this realm between the 50 and down here at the 20 and the 8-day moving average. Now, if you were going to nibble on this a little bit, and I wouldn't do it going into the weekend, but you'd want to wait till it's up here closer to the 50 or 152.68 rather than where it's at right now, because right now it's too close to where you would anticipate support being, and so you're not going to get that much bang for your buck trying to trade it to the downside. So with that, what else do we have? Let's see. I covered the. Well, let me show you one other thing here. Is that the thing I like about utilizing the scans on Thinkorswim is they automatically feed into your watch list, your watch list. And see right down there where it says upcoming earnings? I click there and I'll show you, okay, here's all the stocks that we just talked about. And it's right there on my watch list. It looks like it didn't save properly. That's all right. And now it's just a matter of going down and start clicking through Adobe. There we go. Now it's picking up the right stuff. I can just basically pull this over and start clicking down through it, and it's right there on my watch list. I have had to do nothing other than just call up the watch list, and then I can go in here see. And because I'm interested in, so like, when's Nike going to report? What about CMX? Is that a good one to trade on earnings? And I'll go back and see what it did in past earnings, and like CMX may be a great opportunity to trade it. It's just going to depend on, I'll go back and look at the table to see what kind of implied volatility you have. But as I said, I've found a way around implied volatility that I'm going to be sharing with the premium members at the top of the hour. So anyway, so that's what's going on there. I'll give you a couple of things to think about for going into the weekend. A couple of stocks that I am currently interested in: Palo Alto Networks, trading it to the downside. If we can just drop back below the 20, we're probably going to go back down to the 195. So that's about almost a $8 or $9 move. May go deeper than that. Palo Alto Networks, that's your short trade. Potential long trade, I think, is Match.com. It is bouncing off of the 8. I'd like to see it bouncing off the 20 before taking a position in this, but it's looking pretty good. And then and the other one was Workday. Yeah, Workday's a little bit more sloppy. On the weekly chart, it looks fairly nice. It's holding the 8-period moving average. It was approximately the 50, somewhere between the 40 and 50. You could take a trade off of the 20 like it's bouncing off today, or wait till Monday, because it may pull on back here towards the 50, which would give it a much better entry to the upside. Okay. Hey, great question, Steve. That'll be my last. Steve asked the question, what was it on Palo Alto Networks that made me think it's going to go down some more? Well, one, it's in a downtrend. Okay. Two, I've got price action. What's happening with price action? It came up and approached the 20, which is right here, and it looks like it is stalling. Sellers came in just below the 20. That's what that long wick shows. And so while, yes, the 8-day is holding it up, if the trend is going to continue, it should flush to the downside here. I'm not, we could buy it right here, but, you know, it could also run all the way up here towards, you know, it could also run up here all the way to the 34. But you've got all the moving average crossed over to the downside and saying, hey, trade in the direction of the prevailing trend. That's all. And so, yeah, this looks like, here's what this pattern looks like to me. It looks like okay, here's a top, you know, came up, hit a top. Now we slid on down. Yes, TSI looks like it wants to roll up, but again, we're way below the moving averages. I want, you know, and it's fine. If it pops up here and touches one of the moving averages, that so much the better. So you got it? You see it? Awesome. The more and more I study these charts, the more and more I come away going, you know what? There's only really, in reality, 3 different points on a chart you should really be interested in. That's on extensions away from the mean, away from the 20 or 21-day moving average, which is depicted by Keltner does a really good job of doing that at 2 or 3 ATRs. So NASDAQ, okay, we're in this box. Will NASDAQ continue to push higher? Right now, because of what happened earlier in the year, NASDAQ is kind of just going, it's undecided. It's directionless, if you will. Russell, same type of thing. Russell tends to grind, meet grinder time across into the September, October timeframe, and then get a bounce up higher. Hey, our monthly BAM webinar meeting is July 6th. I'm going to be talking about mid-year adjustments and, you know, and how to do your trading plan for the remainder of 2019. Again, on this, on our premium training on Wednesday night, I'm going to be basically explaining the new spread trades we're going to be doing for earnings. And so with that, a little bit about my son Brandon, who's joined me in the business of active trend trading, and his background, my background. He currently is in Great Britain doing a ministry trip. So until next time, hey, keep the egg growing, trade wisely, trade profitably. We'll be premium members. Will be welcome to the final hour at the top of the hour. And so from my home to yours, aloha, trade well, and prosper. Have a great Father's Day weekend. If your dad's still with us, make sure you do something special for him as you look forward and, you know, as we do celebrate the weekend of fathers. So with that, I bid you all adieu. God bless everybody. Aloha.